Welcome to Patty's Place, a place where we will talk about grief, dementia, and caregiving. I named this podcast in honor of my mom, Pat, who passed away from dementia about 2 years ago. So I want this to be a place where everyone knows they're not alone and they can share all their feelings with all of these issues that go on. So please grab a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, or if you're having a really bad day, your glass of wine, and let's get talking today. So today our guest is Kelly Edmondson. She is the founder and CEO of timelypresence.com. She's also a former trauma nurse who has put her compassion into actions with timely presence. Welcome, Kelly, to Patty's Place.
Thank you. Well, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Yes. So tell me, how did timely presence come about?
Yes. So, as you referenced, I have spent my career, I've been a nurse for 25 years.
Mhm.
I started out in trauma ICU and in emergency departments, and very quickly was introduced to tough moments, difficult conversations, and death. My maiden name is Thomas, and I kind of developed a knack for supporting people at end of life, and so they nicknamed me Trauma Thomas, and it kind of became what I did. And I thought I was really quite gifted at that work. Over time, I became a leader, a healthcare leader, and one of the things that you learn in leadership is that there's a lot of counseling you do in that, right?
Oh,
Your
for sure.
your employees, your patients, their families, people are grieving all over, and so that work expanded even further. But in 2023, I lost my oldest son. He
Oh,
had epilepsy
okay.
and had a seizure in his sleep and aspirated.
Oh, okay.
And so, despite 20 years of caring for people in their most vulnerable moments, I learned that I really didn't understand grief at all. Um, and so, I really set out on a journey to better understand the process, what I was going through, what the people I had cared for and will care for go through. I became a certified grief counselor, and I have really leaned into the work. And so, Timely Presence is a result of 25 years of nursing experience,
Hmm.
becoming a grief counselor, and then my experience as a bereaved mother.
So let's talk a little bit about the website. So if
Mhm.
somebody goes to the website, which is uh, it's thetimelypresence.com,
Correct.
what will they find out there?
Yeah. So, what I learned is that grief doesn't end with the funeral.
Very true.
And
Very, very true.
right? In fact, much of the process begins there.
That's exactly how I felt. Somebody asked me that
Yeah,
like the day after my mom's service, and they were like, "How are you?" And I go, "I feel like it's all just beginning now,
that's
once all
right.
that's
That's
over."
right.
Yeah.
Because you're so busy, right? There's so much
Mm-hmm.
planning, there's so much work. And then it is, what do I do with the rest of my life? So
Exactly.
you cared for your mom, you were very intimately involved, and now you have all this time.
Yes.
Well, I experienced the same as a bereaved mother. And so what we built really leans into that space. We show up after the funeral through the first anniversary of death,
Okay.
and we bring heirloom quality memorial gifts on all the milestone events. So you lost your mother, you understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Her first birthday.
Well, the funny story with that is her very first birthday was the day of her service. Because
Oh.
she died 10 days before her birthday, and it just
Oh
worked out that
wow.
way. So we ended up having a cake and everything for her. So it was really technically her second birthday where I was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, what do I do with
That's
this?
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Um, and so, we show up on that day, and we show up on Mother's Day.
Yes.
We show
Yeah.
up during the holiday season, right? Whatever holiday you celebrate, it's different without
Hmm.
someone that you love.
It is.
Um,
Mother's Day is it is difficult, but I laugh in a sense because my mom used to always tell me my whole life, first she would say she didn't care because her mom passed away when she was in her early 30s. So she was like, she didn't care.
Mm.
And then she used to tell me I should be nice to her all year long, not just on Mother's Day. And then she would say, and you are. So it was like, I mean, I always got her a gift and we always ate whatever she wanted. But then she'd be
Yeah.
like, well, you should be nice to me all year long. I'm like, okay.
Noted.
Right,
Noted.
right. But I understand now what she meant when she said that,
Mhm.
you know, her mom wasn't here anymore. And it is just
Mhm.
different, you know.
It's different.
It is, you know, when you see all the commercials and all that stuff, it's just, there's just something missing. Same thing with birthdays or Christmas or all the different holidays with it. So, so you do this. I noticed you said on the website in there where people don't know what to say to
That's
somebody who's
right.
grieving, you know, and they're like, if you need something, let me know. And
Mhm.
people would say that to me, and I'd be like, I don't know what I need.
Yeah, yeah. I need. If you're asking me what I need, what I want my mom back, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't do that, and so it is. It's very uncomfortable. You know that we are not a society that's comfortable with facing
No.
mortality, with bringing it up. People don't know. They know it's Mother's Day. People don't even think, oh, this Mother's Day is different for Lisa. Pat's gone. It's different. They don't
Right.
even think that. Not because they're not caring,
Oh,
but
right.
because life goes on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And I noticed too, like people will do it the first, like the first Mother's Day. Well, the first Mother's Day I was actually in Ireland, which that helped a lot. But
Yes.
everybody texted me that day. But then sometimes it's like last year, then it was like, okay, how do I feel? Like I just didn't really even acknowledge it because that's just how I could
Mhm,
deal with it.
mhm.
Um, with it. But I saw, so you have different collections then on
Yes,
here that people
yes.
can do. So do you like, can somebody like put in those dates that are important for
Yeah.
it?
So this is what we do. We've started out with what I'll say the most common
Mm-hmm.
relationships. So we have one for parents and children, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have one for spouses and significant others.
Okay.
We have a general one for friends and family, and
Okay.
then we did one for what I call kind of the silent grievers, women that have a miscarriage or a
Mm,
stillbirth. It's
yeah.
such a vulnerable place because nobody remembers a child they never met.
Very true. That is very true. Yeah.
And so we've created a package for them. But throughout our process as a gift giver is trying to figure out, how do I support this person I care for? How do
Mm-hmm.
I give ongoing support? We collect a few pieces of information. You tell us the relationship they
Okay.
had to the departed, and then we ask for a couple of dates, and then the gifts just automatically come. There's nothing else for you to do. We send you an email that says, hey, just remember Lisa's mom's birthday is next week. The wind chime is on its way. And Lisa gets a note from you, and a wind chime with just a note about memory staying alive. People love the wind chime. It's interactive.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like someone's talking to you. And we do this all year long on all those events. The gift will arrive that just says, you're not alone. We're still thinking of you. And, your mom mattered. Um,
I I did see the wind chime on there, and then you have some other like, they're very beautiful gifts.
yeah.
You said they're handmade. Like there's a memory box
Yeah.
and like a crystal cube. Is it with the person's
Yeah.
picture?
Yeah, we were so thoughtful on these gifts. So I actually, unfortunately, people die every day.
Yes, very
And
true.
so after my son passed and this idea came to me, I just began thinking about the gifts that I like the best, but I
Mm-hmm.
began buying gifts for people and seeing how they responded to them, what resonated, what was super impactful. And so we've tried to build gifts that aren't sad, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
not, you don't look at them and think, oh, this is, a sad thing. But the memory box, I'm so glad you brought that up. It's the first gift you receive.
Okay.
It's an engraved memory box. And we did it because after the funeral, you have so many things. There's an
You do.
obituary.
Yeah.
There's photos. There may be a flower or something from the service. Where do you put them?
I still have some of those flowers that I dried out. I took some of them. There was a convent close by, and they took the petals
Oh,
and they made them into different like jewelry or bookmarks and stuff like that. So I got a lot of those made, not just for myself but for family. But I still have other dried flowers, and I'm like, I want to do something with this, but I don't know what to do with it.
mhm.
With it.
And people don't know what people have told me they have them in cardboard
Mhm.
boxes, shoe boxes. They're just all around. And so I wanted to make something that was beautiful and personalized where you could just collect those things until you figured out what's next or if there's a what next. Sometimes you just go through. I have cards in mine, right? So I may look
Mhm.
through and read a note. My son had written a song for me, and I actually transcribed it. And I just open it and read the song lyrics
Oh, that's
sometimes.
beautiful.
So it's
Yeah.
just a place to center around your loved one.
Yeah, cuz I do. I still have like the sign-in book and cards, and I still have the little I don't know what the actual word is for it, but the little memorial cards you get sometimes at
Yes.
services. So I have those. Yeah, to put them in something like that memory box or anything else would is nice um
Yeah, it's
for that, cuz yeah, you don't know what to do with it. You don't want to throw it out, but
that's right.
you don't know where to put it.
That's right.
You're
It's
like,
a
"Okay." Yeah, for that.
so
So you get the memory box first with the one collection, and then you can get like the wind chimes and the other like they look like they're crystal for that.
yes. So you get the wind chime for the birthday. For the holiday season, we tried to think of, I wanted something people would use.
Mhm.
So I was speaking to someone last week. We don't do an ornament. And she said, I'm so glad you don't do an ornament because I wasn't ready to put up a tree, right?
That's
That
true.
for first few years, I wasn't ready for a tree. And my son's birthday is actually Christmas Day.
Oh,
So
okay.
we
That's
don't,
hard. Yeah.
it's really tough. And he
Yeah.
died on January 3rd. So the whole holiday season's different.
No, I understand because my mom died on January 6th,
Oh,
and
yeah.
her birthday's January 16th, and her like last week it was on New Year's Eve. So from the whole holiday, I totally understand. Like it's just different now.
It's just different. So what we do is we take a trip at Christmas now. I
Okay.
take some, we had him cremated, so I take some of his ashes with us and he's traveling the world.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's our that's our new way of doing it. But I didn't want to do an ornament for that reason. So what we do is a beautiful crystal votive candle holder
Okay.
and it's engraved, but it's really a way to share light, right? And
Mhm.
so um we give it at Christmas because people like to light candles, or someone at Hanukkah may want candles. It's
Mhm.
just what we do at that time of year. But it's beautiful. It can be in your office or anywhere at any time, and it doesn't look like death.
Right.
Um, and it also doesn't look like Christmas. It's just a beautiful gift. And then the gift that comes on the anniversary of death is a 3D photo keepsake that's engraved in a crystal block. And they are stunning. They're stunning. It looks like your loved one is in the room with you.
Mhm.
It's everyone's favorite. It's memorable, and it's just a way to keep it's a way of saying, may the legacy of your loved one go forward with you. And so
That's beautiful. I saw on your website too. It says your purpose is where love, loss, and light come together.
that's right. That's
That's
right.
because it is. It- it's lost, but there is still that love, and you are dark, feeling in that dark spot,
That's
but you still
right.
want some light to come in.
That's
It's
right.
like finding that balance is so hard with it. And I see you have several different. You have like different collections that people can do for that. Um, depending on what. what they feel is right for their loved one or their
That's right.
friend or that for it.
Right.
Um, with that. But I think it's such a nice thing because people don't know what to say and they don't know what to do, and then they feel weird about bringing it up. And this way, it's like,
They feel so weird about
yeah,
bringing.
yeah, they're like, should I bring it up? Should I not
That's
bring it
right.
up? And then this way, you're supporting your person without, because I think what most people forget about grief is that the griever will, if you hold that space for them, they'll tell you what they need.
That's
But
right.
it's hard for the person on the other side to know what to do.
That's right.
You
You,
know.
you know, people say to me, I don't want to make them remember.
Mm,
And, my answer is always the same. I wish there were a day I could forget my son's death. Right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always told everybody, I tell everybody that I find comfort in talking about my
That's
mom.
right. That's right.
I
That's
do because
right.
it makes me feel. I like telling stories about her because sometimes I realize, man, she really was funny at times. The stuff that she came out with, and I'm like, and I'm not making it up. She would tell me these things all the time, But I
That's
find
right.
comfort, like she's still here,
That's
with
right.
it. But it makes the other person more uncomfortable, I think, than the griever.
That's right. That's how they live on. They live on in the stories, in
Mm-hmm.
the memories, in the laughter, right? That, just
Yeah.
just like you said, she was funny. Or you think back, I remember that time she got so mad about this, and it makes you chuckle thinking about how she got over it quickly, or just, you know,
Yeah.
I love to talk. He's my person. I
Right.
love to hear his name.
Yeah. Yeah. With it. Well, how old was your son when he
He
passed?
was 28.
Oh, that's young.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
just really starting to get his groove in life. He had gotten diagnosed with seizures at 18, which is
Okay.
a really tough time to get a chronic disease
Oh,
diagnosis,
yeah. Yeah.
where you can't drive. You have to take medicine every day. The medicine makes you lethargic, a little
Mhm.
confused. So, it took him a few years to work through all that.
Mhm.
So he was a little later graduating college, but he was done and working in his career, and really had just bought a house and was
Mm.
just really doing all the things that he wanted to do. And, if there's any peace that comes, he died happy,
Well,
happy.
that's a good
Mhm,
thing. I mean, not,
mhm,
that he was happy at least
mhm.
for that. I I also noticed too on your website you have a blog on there and you have a lot of different articles for the graver. I noticed the one, I think it's your most recent one, about the quiet months after a loss can feel so hard, and it kind of lists all the different things that grief can look like that people don't realize. Like you're really tired and you have low motivation for that. And I think a lot of times people don't understand that. They can get
Mhm,
mad
mhm.
sometimes, um, or you have trouble focusing and you forget. Like you're like, what did I come in this room for?
Like, that's awful, right? For me,
Right.
that was probably the worst thing, right? I'm just, what? It was very difficult. I had to take time off work because I just couldn't concentrate, right?
And I think that that's hard too, because you're like, you go back to work because you're like, okay, you want this somewhat of a normal schedule, but yeah, you have a hard time concentrating. And then I
Mhm.
think the workplace doesn't know how to handle it either. You know,
3.5 days. That's the average
yeah.
bereavement time. Yeah,
hmm
3.5 days.
Otherwise, you have to take family leave, which is what I had to do with my mom.
Mhm, mhm.
Which was fine. I got it, but
Yeah,
yeah, then you
yeah,
come back and you're like, I don't know what's going on.
that's
You
right.
know,
That's right.
Uh,
And I'm a
or
different me, right? The things that were
right.
the most important now may be different.
hmm Yeah, you are a different person.
Mhm,
You can't always explain how you're different, but you
mhm,
are with
mhm.
that. Or like you're irritable, or you just feel numb, or you just don't. You withdraw from plans. You just like, I just don't want to
That's
do it. You
that's
know.
right.
with it.
And you hope you have people that understand that, right? I'm not
Right.
antisocial. I'm just grieving. And so I
Right.
don't want to go to dinner tonight. Count me out.
Yeah, is people just don't always completely understand that, or they are like, oh, they should be over it. And it's like, you're not over it.
That's right. That's right.
you
That's
know?
right.
Yeah, like I know some people, what do you say to some people might be like, oh, this is kind of morbid to give these types of gifts, because some people might feel really uncomfortable with it.
Mhm. What I say is, as a society, we have to learn how to care more about one another than
Hmm.
around the discomfort that facing something brings us, right? And
Yes.
so, if you care for someone who's grieving, then there's two realities you have to realize. One is you don't understand it,
Hmm.
right? Every loss is different and every relationship is different. So the pain you felt, the loss of losing your mom is different than the loss of losing my son. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
right, it's just
Hmm.
different, which is different than the loss of my neighbor losing her husband. Everybody grieves differently. There is no playbook. So you have to understand that. And number two is it's not about you. And so
Yeah.
if you care about them, then the
Right.
goal is to give them what they need to help
Right.
get through this. And so it's about
And
not, it's a,
I was going to say too, and a lot of times the griever doesn't know what they need.
mhm,
And like I said earlier, like if you can be that
yes,
safe place for the person, or even be able to say to that person, when they're complaining about what they're feeling, or, like, I don't know why I'm tired or whatever, to be able to say, it's your grief, you know, to
that's right.
acknowledge that and say, and that's okay that
That's
it
right.
is, for me, that the first year, the 6th of every month was just so difficult, because,
Oh,
you know, it was a trigger for me that first,
that's
the
right.
first year,
Another month,
another
another month.
month. Yeah.
And that it's been three.
Right, but I tried to know that, and so some days I looked ahead and I took the day off of work because I knew I didn't know how it was gonna be, and I thought if I want to cry all day, I will, you
That's
know,
right.
or do something
That's
that.
so important, Lisa,
Mhm.
that kind of planning around what I
Mhm.
call new rituals, creating new rituals, um, I think is so important. I think it's so important.
Yeah, because I'd be like, I don't know, and some months I did cry all day, and other months I was, not that I was okay, but, or I did something that reminded me of my mom or something like that, uh,
Mhm,
for it. But to be able to say that to people and say it, and it's okay, but think
that's
about it,
right.
or, Mother's Day, or, whatever day it was. For
Mhm.
me, also the 4th of July is a bit of a, like, trigger for me, because it was the last holiday I celebrated with my mom at my house before she had to go into memory care, and she didn't know she was going into memory care. So it was the 4th of July, I think it was a Saturday, and we brought her to memory care on that Monday, the 6th. So, like, I,
Mhm, mhm,
I it just makes me think of all of that,
mhm,
for it.
mhm,
So I'm like, I'll see a little fireworks and then I'll just,
mhm.
yeah.
Tender moments, right? So, how
Right.
do you plan for that now? So, July will be here before we know it. What will you do this year?
Usually what's neat is, I live in a townhouse, and so I have a really nice patio, and where my patio is I can see a lot of different suburbs, fireworks,
Oh,
plus the
nice.
neighbors, close by in the other subdivisions. And so usually myself and my neighbor, or a couple other neighbors, we can sit out on the patio and we just relax and we can watch all the fireworks. And then you know, that's always a nice way to
Mhm,
celebrate it,
mhm,
with
mhm.
it, uh, for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Community, right? So
Yeah.
again, it's about people supporting you and just being there.
Hmm. Right. So if somebody is interested then
Mhm.
they can go to your website, and then do you help somebody, like, figure out what would be the best, like, collection for them, or how would they do that?
Yeah, we kind of guide them just based on relationships. So
Okay.
for friends and close family, there's one for spouses and significant others, one for grieving parents, and then one for people with pregnancy loss. That's our just our kind of recommendations.
Okay.
Um, but as people play around in the site, you may find that the package that's for parents really works for an adult child that's lost a parent, right?
Oh, okay.
Because we celebrate Mother's Day, Father's Day, or Mother's Day and Father's Day,
Mhm.
depending. So, um, we try to guide by who the gift recipient is. That's our goal. The holidays have already been planned out, so there's no additional work to do there for
Okay.
anyone. And the gifts have been a match to them. So there's opportunity to customize cards, but if people don't want to do, because again, people don't know what to say,
Right.
we have very evidence based um, cards that go out with every gift that kind of reference the holiday that they're celebrating or the milestone event that they're recognizing,
Okay.
that we would hand sign from the gift giver. So we've tried to make it very easy for people because in general they just don't know what to do, they don't know what to say, and we certainly don't want anyone to do or say the wrong, because there's wrong things to say,
Oh,
right?
very true. Yeah. Very true.
We
Yeah.
and we've faced that, so we don't want to cause more harm, and so we've made it easy for people to say and
w-
do the right thing easily.
will you ever do one for pets? For pet loss?
You are maybe the 103rd person who's asked that. So we are looking and working on, you know what? Because the loss is real,
It
right? People
is.
say all the time, I lost my very best friend
Mhm.
last night, right? And so
Yes. Yes.
we're looking at a way to do that in a way that is meaningful and valuable, because I think it's a super unique relationship
Mhm.
um, that's long term,
Mhm.
and as you know, as a caregiver, these are relationships where you've cared for this pet for a very long time, and that when a pet's gone, the absence of having the work to care for something is so loud. The absence of
Yes.
that is so loud.
Yeah, and it
Uh,
doesn't matter how little or how big the pet
yeah,
was. It's
yeah,
like when they're not there to greet you, you
yeah,
hear the little pitter
yeah,
patter uh, with that, and just their own unique personalities as well.
yeah.
You're just like, oh, I remember when they did this or that. And um, for me, my parents had a dog, but she was really like my mom's dog, and I ended up taking care of her. And so, there was this part of me that when I had to put her to sleep, and she, it was time. I felt like I was losing part of my mom before I lost my mom, you know,
Oh, yeah,
uh, w-
yeah.
with it, because I was like, she was so, she would tell my dad, if it's between you and the dog is winning. She would say so it was like, this little 14-pound dog was very important to her.
Yeah.
So
Was your
yeah.
mom in memory care already when you had to put the dog down?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I was able
Mhm.
to bring Annie was the dog, and I was able to bring Annie to see her. And she was very good with my mom, which was surprising because she had quite the feisty attitude for a little 14-pound that she was. Uh, but yeah, and sometimes it is with pets. There's a different type of
Mhm.
relationship with that. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think that would be very popular on top of
Yeah, I
everything
think so
else.
too. I think so too.
Oh, yeah, for it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been
Yes.
very, very insightful. So if someone is interested, the website is thetimelypresence.com, and they can go to that
Yes.
and find some good gifts to give to the griever with that. So
Yes. We try to make it beautiful and easy. So thetimelypresence.com. We'd be happy to serve.
yes, yes. And I have been on the website, and it's really user friendly. So,
No, great. Thank
yes.
you.
So, thank you for joining us today. I
Yes,
really,
thank
this,
you.
like, so hopefully you have enjoyed our conversation today. So, please leave us a review. subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hopefully you enjoyed your cup of tea, your cup of coffee, or if you're having that really bad day, a glass of wine, and join us for another episode of Patty's Place.